Good evening, everyone.
Hi, Eduardo.
Hi there.
I recognize your voice.
From my man cave in the city of Pinole, California.
All right. Looks like we got one more outlet in the waiting room there.
Yep, here we go. Can everybody hear me good?
Mm-hmm.
I can see everybody well. Remember, we'll keep most of you muted for most of the meeting just to kind of help the process.
Okay. Chris, would you like to take it away from here?
Sure. Thanks, Danielle. Good evening, everyone. My name is Chris Iglesias. I'm the Chief Executive Officer, CEO, or as they usually call me, Jefe, El Jefe of the Unity Council. And I've been at the Unity Council now for 8 years. Today is my 8th year anniversary. So this is a special day and glad to be here. The Unity Council is really an amazing organization. You know, like the longer I stay here, it's just, you know, the more I learn and just see the commitment of staff and the team and the work in the community has just been just a huge, huge honor to be leading the organization. So I'm glad to be here tonight. I think we have a pretty full agenda. So we really want to, we want to share out what's been happening with the bid. This is being recorded, so we could share that with other property owners and other constituents that weren't able to join us tonight. But again, I'll be around for the duration of the meeting to be able to answer any questions. This is a very, I think, obviously the most challenging time in my 8 years at the Unity Council. I think this pandemic has hit the Fruitvale particularly hard, East Oakland particularly hard. So we are and have been, going full steam since March 15th or 16th of last year, meeting the needs in the community, whether it be food, housing, supporting small businesses like crazy. And it's just been a lot of work, and I'm really, really proud of our team and their effort and how they've just stepped up incredibly to meet this challenge. But with the bid, this is a key component of our work, and we look forward to working with all of you to continue to improve the work and make the Fruitvale a really vibrant business community. So thank you. And I think I pass it back over to you, Danielle, or to Tiffany?
Yes, to me.
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Thank you for that welcome. And it's nice to see so many people here on the call, some of you on video and some of you on the phone. One of the main priorities of this effort is to get to know as many members of the community as possible and learn what services are valuable to you and other property owners. So the Unity Council hired CivicMic to assist with public engagement efforts for your community. Our primary focus is to help communities come together and realize sustainable visions for the community's future. Tonight's topics are pretty high level. They'll include an introduction about CivicMic, the public engagement process, some ground rules. There will be an overview from the Fruitvale Business Improvement District. And then we will also go over the renewal process and then answer any questions that anyone has. So first, I'd like to go over a couple of ground rules just to respect everyone's time and make sure that we respect everyone's personal viewpoints as well. We plan to keep the meeting to under an hour. We're setting this time frame to allow everyone to hear the discussion without leaving early or missing comments. In case you need to hop off or would like to review some content covered tonight, the meeting will be recorded and shared on civicmic.com. So we'll hold questions till the end of the presentation. If you have questions, write them down, or if you're on the computer, you can use the chat button. At the end of the presentations, we'll cover questions that have been submitted on the online chat, and then we'll respond to phone questions or any additional questions that people have. But save the chat feature for just limit it to questions that you have and no conversations, because it's hard for us to sort through at the end what is a question and what is just two people talking back and forth. If we run out of time, I'll provide multiple methods for you to reach us and ask questions, or any additional questions that come up, ways that you can get in touch with us and we can share that information with you. So to keep down the background noise, all participants will be muted. Some of you may have noticed that already. The technology in Zoom just isn't there yet to allow everyone to have their mic on and speaking when you get to larger groups. So we want everyone to be able to hear what's being presented during the presentation. And if you can, please respect others and stay on mute so everyone can listen to the presentation. So CivicMic is this public engagement process aims to gather feedback from various demographics with diverse values. We would like to hear from all participants, and we make every attempt to shield you from personal attacks or slander. So anyone using foul language or making personal attacks will be moved to a private meeting room. And then after you have some time to regain composure, the moderator will move you back. If that behavior continues, you will be removed from the meeting and not allowed to return. So I don't think that this will happen. And we actually, knock on wood, haven't ever had this happen, but we like to use these rules at the beginning to just kind of give everyone an idea what to expect. So we do want to hear everyone's opinions. And we know that some of you have different views than others, and we will not allow anyone to disrespect you because you have a different view. So
Danielle,
just keep that in mind. Yes.
I got a question about, do we have any Spanish speakers here, or only, only Spanish speakers currently
So
here?
We're asking.
Yeah, so let me ask. ¿Hay en esta reunión que solamente habla español? Por favor, alce su mano. Si solamente habla español. So todo el mundo habla inglés. Everybody speaks English. Okay. I didn't see anybody with the hands up, so sorry about that. That was a question to me, so please proceed.
That's okay. Thank you. So the purpose of the public engagement process is first to provide you information on the proposed renewal of the Fruitvale Business Improvement District. And then second, to answer any questions you have once you've read all of that information and as you continue to go through it and we release content about the process or as the process evolves. And then finally, we want to understand your priorities for services that you receive, as well as services you may like to receive or continue to receive. So connecting with as many members of the community as possible is extremely important to us. We have sent out emails to many of you. We've emailed out a postcard there. If you can go to that next slide, Pablo.
Sorry. There you go.
This postcard, if you are a property owner, we mailed these out, and we've called many of you directly as well. So this postcard announced the meeting and the survey. It also has a QR code on it that will lead you directly to the Fruitvale page on CivicMic.com. If you have this laying around and you haven't visited the web page, you can scan that picture to go directly to this page here, or just type in CivicMic.com/FBID. And please go there and sign up for updates. So if you are not on our update list, this is where we share information. And as we post information, it goes out to everyone who signed up on the listserv. So we share everything that's going on in the process to this webpage. The page is designed with you in mind. Any questions received outside of this meeting will be addressed back on this webpage. And then the posts that are here are also shared on various social media pages. So on the main page here, you can see the map of the bid. You can see a timeline, events for the renewal process. And from the main page, you can click up there at the top. It says communities, and you can click there to see the latest news. And this is where posts are located that will explain what is a business assessment district, how does the renewal process work, what's the timeline for this process. So the next slide shows a snapshot of what some of those posts look like on the web page. One more slide. And each of these just provides you with detailed information on information that most of you would never know. There's only a very tiny group of us nerds that understand this type of district. So it's okay that you don't probably haven't maybe even heard about the details of how this works. Hopefully you've all heard of the bid, but you may not know how they work, or what code legislation's behind the setup of these. So please read these posts and ask any questions. So as I mentioned before, we want to answer questions. If you have anything that you think of, chances are someone else may have the same question. So to reach us, there are multiple ways that you can do that. And you can go to civicmic.com/FBID, and that's for those on the phone, CIVICMIC.com/FBID. Or you can post to social media. There is a Fruitvale bid page on the CivicMic portion of Facebook, and as well as oh gosh, why am I drawing a blank? As well as on Instagram. Jeez. You can also call the phone number here. It's 1-800-676-7516, or email me directly, dwood@civicmic.com. That's DWOOD@civicmic.com. Everyone wants to add an S to that because of Tiger Woods, I believe, but no S. You can also just mail, if you need to mail us something, you can do that as well. So finally, we need to hear from you to understand your priorities for the service. We have a really good group of community members that's working directly with the Unity Council to share priorities and concerns. So we know what they feel is valuable from the bid, but we want to hear from more of you, all of you, really. We'd love to hear from all of you. But the way to do that is to take the survey. So you can reach out through any of those methods that I mentioned before to request a hard copy of the survey. You can go directly to the webpage, and the survey is located there on the main page. So please take the survey if you have, and then share that with other members of the community. Anyone that you come in contact with that is involved in this process or would benefit from services received, we want to hear from them. And finally, I think with that being said, we'll move on to the presentation of the Fruitvale, an overview of the Fruitvale Business Improvement District from Tiffany and Maria.
All right, let me switch that. Sorry, this one's going to take me a second here. All right. Maybe you're ready to go. Maria, I think you may still be muted.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Tiffany Rose Napati-Loxato, and I'm the Associate Director of Economic Development at the Unity Council. Maria and I will be going through an overview of the services that the bid provide, organized by our current management plan. So first off, we would like to introduce you to our team. So the lead of our team is Maria Sanchez, who is the bid manager. She'll be speaking along with myself. Since the pandemic, we've really been able to expand our services. And so we were able to hire Mayra Chavez, who is our Small Business Services Manager. Regina Moreno is our bid coordinator, and Artie Rodriguez is our Business Engagement Specialist. So the five of us are the team that leads the bid and business services for the Fruitvale. Next slide, please.
Thank you.
Okay. So Maria, would you like to go?
Yes. Hi, everyone. The supplemental cleaning service from Peralta. There are supplemental services, and Peralta sweeps the neighborhood 6 days a week. Monday to Saturday. And also they power wash the whole district, but only the area 1 twice a year. And they remove posters, they weeding, and remove posters, weeding, power wash, sweeping, collect illegal dumping. The Peralta Corporation is the one who maintains the district clean the whole year round.
So we're really proud of PSC. PSC is actually a social entrepreneurship business that is from the Fruitvale. It was founded in the Fruitvale. All of the folks that they hire to do the bid contract, the majority of them are Fruitvale residents. And I wanted to take some time to talk about some of the feedback that we've gotten from the commercial tenants. So on the left side, there is a paragraph about Ramon Gonzalez J. And so I'm going to read an excerpt of it. It says, I see him out cleaning and getting the job done every single morning in front of my store, never missing a day. He has become a big part of the community as well. And that humble and charming characteristics of his, he has connected with many pedestrians that pass him every day. He has grown so close to the community that many people know him by his name and never miss the opportunity to greet Ramon. So the Peralta Service Corporation that provides the cleaning services for the bid are supplemental cleaning services. So they are in addition to the regular city cleaning that the city of Oakland does. Next slide. So these are some of the before and after pictures that we wanted to share. So like Maria had said, they do graffiti abatement in Zone 1, and Zone 1 is primarily along International Boulevard and in the dense commercial corridor of Foothill Boulevard. They also do the power washing. Power washing is done normally in the early, like the earlies of, hours of the morning before the sun comes up. And they also do weeding removal. And these pictures here are reflective of their work. Next slide, please. So the next service that we offer as part of the bid is assistance to merchants. So the first bid was installed in 2001. And so we've had many years of experience assisting the merchants. In this rendition of the bid, a lot of the assistance to merchants happened in really small amounts during the merchant meetings. But since, the world has changed and small businesses are really feeling the brunt of the economic downturn, the Unity Council has been able to, and the bid have been able to rise to the occasion to provide as much assistance to the merchants as possible. So some of the things that we provide are, in addition to the monthly merchant meetings, we were able to set up a small business helpline that is staffed 40 hours a week between Regina and Artie. You can call businesses, your tenants can call, and they can get help on a variety of topics. We created an information hub, which included maintaining a bi-monthly newsletter and social media channels. We do that in concert with our communications team at the Unity Council. We also started doing a lot more financial resource navigation and application assistance. Those have been primarily for grants and loans, but also in terms of facilitating connections with lenders with the PPP process. Because it's been COVID, the photos that you see are pictures actually of what we call an open air clinic. These are like clinics that we host outside, rain, sleet, or snow. we ever had it. And we actually invite folks to come to the open air clinics so that they can get help. A lot of our businesses are there's a huge digital divide, and so this helps us to bridge the digital divide in the Fruitvale. The other thing that we provide in this pandemic situation is COVID-19 safety and sanitation guidance. So originally, when the first shelter-in-place orders were being issued, in the beginning there were no Spanish translation for those orders. They were done only in English, and a lot of times our merchants would call us, and other property owners actually would call us and ask for translation for those. So we've been really keeping track and an eye on all the different rolling safety and sanitation guidance that are coming out of Alameda County Public Health, and we're able to help translate a lot of that information in bite-sized pieces to the community. And then the other thing under this is that in the last weeks or the few weeks before the holiday break, the bid team was able to distribute over 500 PPE kits that came from the city. So that's another part of this COVID-19 safety and sanitation service. Then the other thing that really expanded from being really short workshops within the monthly merchant meetings to a full-blown program is the Business Owner Upskill Series. So early on in the pandemic, when they issued the first eviction moratorium guidelines in our city, we could foresee that small business was going to go into a lot of debt as businesses were closed and the times were changing. That we early on were able to develop a lease negotiation webinar with Ventura Partners. So we were one of the first organizations to be able to respond, to really start the conversation, to have property owners and business owners start to talk about things like payment arrangements, deferral agreements, things that would allow them to weather the storm in terms of their lease. And then the other thing that we were able to do is through this under this assistant to merchants was that in October, we did a marketing and e-commerce webinar with full web services so that we could get more of our businesses in the bid doing their business online. So one of the things that was really striking is that when we did a survey with the businesses, that 60% of our merchants were not online. And so we developed this webinar series to be able to address those needs. Next slide, please.
Our marketing and promotion events, we organize the Dia de los Muertos Festival, who attracts over 100,000 people to come to the Fruitvale District and support the small businesses. That day for the Dia Festival, all the district, they change the color to orange. It's very beautiful. We have the annual Christmas posadas, which we distribute a lot of toys to the kids, and we have a snow area for the kids to play. It's very beautiful, with a lot of families come to visit and enjoy that festivities on December. We organize the summer night markets. This is something in a small scale, where we have a community group that they come and perform. We have some of the businesses who come and show the merchandise on the street. It is really nice. Not only that, but we also have the business directory and paper, and also on the internet for people to see where are the businesses. But we also have the open campaign, and you can see one of the banners, but we distribute the banners along the Fruitvale Business Improvement District. We have two huge banners across the street on Foothill Boulevard. One is close to Fruitvale, the other is close to High Street. On International, we have one on 35th Avenue. The other is in the arch at Avenida de la Fuente, and the other is close to the bar station. Just to announce and to promote the commercial corridor that our business is still open. We need the people to come and shop and support the businesses. We do beautification projects. Unfortunately, this year for the pandemic, we couldn't do much, but we always doing mosaic on the trash containers and new murals. We work on some of the gardens that we have in the corridor. But like I say, this year, the beautification project was in a very small scale for the pandemic. We have an ongoing digital market for individual in the business improvement district by our social media channels and connect with members of the press to local businesses.
Next slide, please.
I feel very nice when I see our volunteers doing the flower vines. Every vine is about like 6 yards long. They have over 16 or 14 giant orange flowers. That vines, we have close to 200 vines that we put on the light poles on the commercial corridor. This decoration is for Dia. But like that vines, also we have vines for the Cinco de Mayo. We have different decoration to dress the commercial corridor depends on the season. We also participate with the city on the Martin Luther King cleaning, can be the Cesar Chavez Park or doing different projects. We always call for volunteers to do beautification or to do cleaning in the business improvement district. And we also volunteer with our team or like 8 or 12 people in the food distribution every week.
Next slide.
Oh, this is one of our projects. This is the Cesar Chavez Park, and this is the Earth Day. We participate also with the city to organize the volunteers and to do beautification projects always in the commercial corridor. That picture is Cesar Chavez Park, which is on Foothill Boulevard between 38th Avenue and Bridge.
Okay. Thank you, Maria. So our, under the banner of physical improvement and urban planning, in addition to the beautification, we had a really strong partnership with AC Transit during the BRT process to help them with their community engagement. The bid team went door to door to let merchants know that there would be resources that AC Transit had available for them to apply to. AC Transit was also a great partner in sending a representative to our steering committee meetings and our merchant meetings when they were held, so that they could hear from the community and answer any questions that the community had. And as an ongoing project of the bid, we are committed to, now that the BRT is complete, to figuring out ways in which we can continue to partner with them in order to maximize the benefit to our commercial corridor. The other really cool thing that we're working on that I was hoping that we would actually get renderings from is the Gateway to Fruitvale, Gateway to Alameda Quick Build project. So that is a project that is happening along Fruitvale Boulevard, below International East 14th, all the way to crossing the bridge into Alameda. They're trying to make that a more pedestrian-friendly, bike-friendly, and family-friendly area to be able to access the estuary. They also have 2 large parking, like under the freeway parking. Now they're not called parking garages, parking lots, which they are hoping they would be able to get not a tram, but like one of those shuttles that would go from the parking garage to the BART and to access the commercial corridor in Fruitvale. So we're helping them right now, being liaisons to the community and to businesses like, the owners of the Aloha Bar, to get them more involved in the process. Next slide, please. As many of us on this call know, is that representation matters. And so part of the job of the bid is to do business district advocacy and be the representatives at different tables on behalf of our commercial corridor. So the 2 that I really wanted to highlight here is public safety. Maria has been a long-time participant in the Neighborhood Crime Prevention Council. And then I actually hold an appointment to the BART Transit Security Advisory Committee, in which I bring the perspective of the commercial corridor to this committee that looks at safety in and around the BART station. So as many of you know, we bear the legacy of what happened to Oscar Grant. And having a BART station has its great, wonderful, benefits, but it also has some not so great benefits. And so I am able to sit on that committee and bring the voices of not just our commercial corridor, but as well as local residents when it comes to safety, addressing safety concerns with BART. And then the other piece that we do in terms of business district advocacy is fundraising. We do a lot of fundraising in the bid and at the Unity Council to help support the work of the bid. We coordinate with public agencies and philanthropies to secure a higher level of service and funding for the Fruitvale. That is actually a direct quote from our management plan. In 2020, we secured over $1 million for small business supports and over $5 million in COVID-19 response and relief funds for the community. So this is in addition to the small business supports. Since the last renewal of the bid, we've secured $25,000 to $35,000 year over year from our philanthropic partners like NeighborWorks, LISC, and various banks like Bank of America, Wells Fargo, and JP Morgan Chase. Next slide. And the biggest thing that the Business Improvement District has been able to contribute to is the real estate investment into the Fruitvale. A lot of times, the fact that we had an established bid really did help bring a large amount of real estate investment. Since 2013, we've secured nearly $400 million in real estate investment. And I'm going to turn it over to Chris so that he can elaborate a little bit more on that. Chris?
Yep. Thanks, Tiffany. Thank you. Great presentation. And thank you, Maria, as well. I think you guys really covered a lot. Yeah, it's been a busy time. And, I think a lot of times, when we develop some of these projects, which we've been doing, we put a lot of attention on phase 2B, next to phase 2 of the transit village. I think, as many of you know, we finished building Casa Arabella last December, and that was about a $65 million total project cost. And I think, part of I think the power of the Unity Council is to really bring that type of investment into the community. And I just, sometimes it kind of goes unnoticed. I think you'll see a building happen or whatever. But those are, I think those are, it's, the power of the Unity Council, the City of Oakland, BART, the state, to bring these really, really big investment dollars into the community. And as of December, I think we finally, on December 22nd of just, a few weeks ago, we fully funded phase 2B, which is the last phase of the transit village. That's going to be almost 200 units of family affordable housing and then some commercial space for Courage. And, that whole project cost with construction and building the whole thing is around 150 million. So that's, these are big dollar deal real estate deals that are happening. And it's not just us, right? I definitely want to acknowledge Natalie Aguilera with Native American Health, our neighbor right down the street. They are also doing development there. They have a couple of things in the pipeline. But one exciting thing I do want to highlight with Natalie and Native American is, in the COVID response, it's not just the Unity Council, it's La Clinica and it's Native American, and they've been testing since, June or before that, right? Really, really playing a key role in the COVID response. And as of tomorrow, they are going to actually start administering vaccines to some of their clients and staff. So the vaccine is here. It is coming to the Fruitvale, so it's really, really exciting. So a big shout out to Natalie and her team over at Native American, because I know they've been working really hard on it. And I think La Clinica is right, pretty much getting in line with you guys too. So two powerful organizations that we're very lucky to have in the Fruitvale. So those are a couple of the real estate deals we have. We purchased 2700 International right down the street. We are in pre-development on that one. That's gonna be another, I think about 90 units or 80 units of affordable housing plus commercial. So, when you look at that deal, it's probably another 60, 70 million. So when you start looking at all these deals together, it's a significant amount of investment that we've been able to bring into the community to continue to make improvements. And we have some other things planned. Probably don't need to get into those right now, but to continue to support the businesses and really create a vibrant, business community. And are we taking questions now or later?
No, we have one more slide and
okay,
then our part of the presentation. And one of the things is that all this investment helps raise the valuation of the properties that we're neighbors to, which is all of you, of the property owners that are BID members. So our last slide is we are rolling out more supports directly to property owners. So assistance to commercial property owners and tenants, which is the tenants are the merchants. But we're really trying to roll out some tools that'll help us manage the district and bring the district into the 21st century. So we have developed an online Salesforce-backed reporting and request system so that property owners and businesses can request for spot cleaning and then also log any PSC service cleaning issues, not city, not things that are responsible for the city, but to be able to, log cases for things that PSC might need to look at and resolve. Then the other thing that we are doing is we're working on a Fruitvale streetwide. So we realized that we actually had a lot of property owners that did not live in Oakland or even in the Bay Area. And so we wanted to be able to develop a platform, an online platform that would be able to have crowdsourced data that property owners can log on to and see for themselves. So we're developing this GIS, which is a mapping, it's backed by a whole mapping system of a platform so that property owners would be able to gather more data on how their properties are doing if they don't live in the area. And then the last thing that we're trying to do is that we don't believe that the Fruitvale should ever have any vacancies at all. And so we're really trying to address that and be able to be more of an active partner to property owners to ensure that they don't have.
Tiffany, you're freezing, I believe. We can see Maria just fine though.
And so we are partnering. Okay.
You back?
Am I okay?
Yeah, go back maybe a few sentences.
Can I continue?
Yes.
Okay. So basically, we're partnering with ensure partners, listeners fill their vacancies. And so that is it. This concludes our portion of going over the Fruitvale Business Improvement District services. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Tiffany and Maria. Now, Nick Deha from NBS will go through the Business Improvement District renewal process. Nick?
Thank you, Danielle. Hi, everybody. My name is Nick Deha with NBS. I'm a senior consultant here. My main role will be assisting the Unity Council with the bid renewal process and the drafting of the important bid documents such as the Management District Plan, Engineer's Report, the required petition, and assessment ballots. Next slide, Pablo, please. So the first stage of the bid renewal process is really gathering data. We'll take that data, we'll incorporate that into a special benefit versus general benefit analysis. From there, we'll move on to drafting the actual important documents, the Management District Plan, the Engineer's Report. Once that's done, we can move into the petition phase. After the petition threshold is met, I will go over what that is in a few slides, but after that threshold is met, we can move on to City Council for our resolution of intention to renew the district. That resolution of intention will direct the mailing of assessment ballots and set a public hearing. And the last stage of this process, after that, all that's done, is the second City Council meeting, where the public hearing, the ballot tabulation, and the resolution of formation will be adopted by the City Council. Next slide, please, Pablo. So this is really the stage that we're in now. We're kind of at the end phases here of this first stage, but this first stage is gathering all the data for the renewal. What will the proposed boundaries be? Will they be the same as the existing bid? Are we propose to expand the bid? What will the services be? Oh, Pablo, I'm sorry. You can go ahead and click that for each of those.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. So, yeah, we need to find out what the proposed boundaries will be. Will the services be the same for the renewal as the existing bid? What will it cost to provide those services? And once that boundary is determined, we need to gather certain property characteristics for all the parcels within the bid. That's going to differentiate each parcel's assessment. That's going to include whether a parcel is commercial, is it a large apartment building, is it just a small residential building, or is it kind of nonprofit or city-owned parcels like parks and stuff. Next slide, please, Pablo. So once we have all that data gathered, we need to identify what those benefits are resulting from the proposed services. Typically in bids, the benefits that will be accruing to property within the bid tend to be aesthetic benefits from cleaning, maybe some safety service, maybe some safety benefits, but most importantly, the economic benefits resulting from those proposed services. It's important to note here that only special benefits are accessible. So we need to quantify the general benefits accruing to the public at large, and that corresponding portion of the budget must be excluded from the assessment. So general benefits typically would consist of, people just passing through your bid, not really having any business within the bid, but just kind of moving through the bid with no intention of doing business in there. Other general benefits might be spillover benefits to adjacent properties not in the bid. Next slide, Pablo. So after that is done, we can begin drafting our management district plan and engineer's report. These are really the important documents that the bid will be using to guide for the next 10 years of the bid. So this management district plan must include a boundary map of the district. It must have a detailed list of all the services that will be provided within the bid. We need to have the budget that will cover the costs of all those services. Also in that plan will be a detailed method of assessment. This is important because this will describe how the budget will be allocated to all the parcels within the bid. Also in that plan, we need to include proposed rules and regulations. And finally, those documents will include a listing of the proposed assessments for each parcel. So once that management district plan has been completed and approved by the Unity Council, we can begin the petition phase. This is really kind of the first step of notifying property owners of what their proposed assessment will be. So this mailed petition, it has to be signed by property owners in favor of the assessment who will pay more than 30% of the proposed assessment in order to progress to City Council. So this could take anywhere from a couple weeks to achieve 30% in favor, or it could take a month or two. It just depends on how quickly we can reach out to these property owners and inform them of about the bid renewal and the benefits that are proposed within the bid. And that could be anywhere, as I said, from a couple weeks to maybe a month or two. So assuming that we do get 30% in favor of moving forward, we can bring this to the City Council for our first meeting. At the City Council, at this meeting, the Council will consider petitions and the Management District Plan Engineer's Report. It'll also, assuming that 30% threshold has been achieved, the City Council will adopt a resolution of intention, setting a public hearing date and ordering the mailing of assessment ballots. Next slide, please, Pablo. In this phase, the assessment ballot phase, after the City Council orders that assessment ballots can be mailed, we need to mail ballots to all the properties that are proposed to be assessed within the bid at least 45 days prior to the set public hearing date. And then finally, the second council meeting, this will be where the city will hold a public hearing where anyone interested to speak on the matter can be heard before the City Council. After that public hearing has been closed, we can move on to tabulating the ballots that have been received by the city. And if more than 50% of the proposed assessments on the ballots returned are in favor, the City Council may adopt a resolution of formation for the renewed bid. Oh, you can go back one slide there. Okay, there you go. So in discussions with the Unity Council, this is the proposed boundaries for the renewal. The parcels that you see in blue represent the existing bid as it is today, and the parcels in green are the proposed expansion parcels. So there's about 26 parcels proposed to be included in the expanded bid. And next slide, please. So that's it for the bid renewal process. And I think, Danielle, that will conclude if you want to move on to questions.
Yes, thank you, Nick. Okay, so now if we have any questions here, I didn't see any questions that needed to be answered in the chat, but we can open it up to everyone. So I'll just kind of cover both the phone questions and chat together. So if you do have a question that comes up and you want to type it in the chat, just type it once so we see it. We'll scan through that, and then try and use your views. Listen carefully to everyone's responses, and like I mentioned before, no personal attacks. For everyone on the call, I will just ask if there's a lot of questions that start, I'll ask for the next person and just yell out your last name. Whoever I hear, I'll call on that person. But if we haven't had any interruptions so far, so this seems like a pretty tame group, I think we may be able to just take any questions in order. So were there any questions from anyone on the
And they should be able to unmute themselves. They're able to do that. If you're on the phone only, you have to hit *6 in order to unmute yourself.
Thank you, Pablo. Maria Campos, did you have a question? I see that you are unmuted.
Well,
no?
I was just thinking that the assessment value, wouldn't that be, I mean, it will be to the owners, but then wouldn't the tenants have to get an increase on rent to cover that?
Nick, did you want to respond to?
I'm happy to respond too.
Okay, Kim. Yes, Kim, actually, you probably, or
ahead,
either
Kim.
one.
Go ahead, Kim.
Yeah, I know you're so used to hearing from me, but I'll jump in just because we deal a lot with the, tenants management and all of that. So it really depends on the landlord, and we don't know yet what the assessment changes might be, right? I mean, as they're starting to go through these numbers now and do an analysis, I think the initial analysis, there were some that were going to go down and some that may go up. So it depends on how your leases are structured to your tenants, whether or not you as a landlord would be looking to pass that through to your tenant.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, well, I also wanted to say that in my learning about the Fruitvale bid was that for our very first bid, that merchants and tenants were willing to pay a higher rent to convince the property owners to be a part of the bid for the very first one. So I think that it is, I think that is information that could be useful as well. Although in this pandemic situation, I don't think anybody wants to increase rent.
Tiffany, I'll just add on to that to say that that is why it is important that if anyone on this call has good relationships with merchants in the community, I know a lot of you do, as well as property owners. Of course, we want to talk to the property owners, but merchants have a say in this as well, because they're the ones out there running their business, and they can talk to the property owner to discuss options and their perspective and what their priorities are for these services continuing. So I think it's really important that we reach out to all members of the community, not only property owners, and we continue to do that. So everyone on this call, if you're a property owner or a merchant, either way, please feel free to please share your opinion. Please take the survey and let us know what you value, because I think, ultimately we don't want, in a pandemic also, we don't want merchants to lose services that they previously had and then wonder what happened.
Well, talking about the pandemic, also it's going to be difficult to increase any assessment because, again, people are suffering right now. So you have any comments?
Yeah. Go ahead, Tiffany. Go ahead.
No, you're the expert.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that I don't really, MBS doesn't set what the budget will be. So we can only work with kind of apportioning that based on our engineering services to the parcels. So what we're going to be working with is kind of a maximum budget amount that we've been provided, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the Unity Council has to levy that full maximum amount in assessments, especially maybe in these first couple of years as the economy is going to be recovering from this pandemic, hopefully, that the assessment won't be as high as it possibly could be in these first couple of years.
And also, I just want to say too that we're working with the bid steering committee on the final budget for that, right? So folks like you, Maria, and other folks who are property owners and business owners will be part of that conversation about what those numbers ultimately look like.
Okay, thank you.
Are there any other questions?
If I could maybe add on a little bit to, Maria's question. Maria, we totally hear it with, that we are in this pandemic and what the recovery looks like, and we anticipate it to be a long recovery. Now, I think what's unique about this opportunity is I think it's important that we go through this process that was laid out. Thanks, Nick. Because I think if we get to the crunch time and get in front of City Hall, the conversation about what is this recovery looking, especially in East Oakland and especially in Fruitvale. I think we have a lot of really unique opportunities with some of the big capital markets, these banks, philanthropic organizations that that potentially could play a role in this, right? To potentially invest in this, let's say, with a 5-year type of program to invest in it to kind of revitalize this neighborhood, be able to keep businesses afloat. So I think we can be really creative right now and potentially ask or bring in different partners to support this. But I think as we go through that's what I think some of the ideas that can be generated from this. So definitely hear you, but I think it's an opportunity for us to really be creative on how we, on how business bids are implemented, right? Especially like post kind of pandemic work in the hardest hit. So it just presents an opportunity.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions?
Hey, my name is Bill Pua. Just to follow up on what Chris just said, or maybe can Chris clarify what do you mean by bringing in partners, and do we actually have partners during it's my understanding that this 10-year is coming to an end. That's why we are in this conversation. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct, Bill. It's the bid. This 10 years is expiring, so now it's kind of renewing the bid, and it's probably the most challenging time to be renewing a bid. Especially as a business, property owner around the Fruitvale. But I also think that with some of the things that we've been doing, some of our other partners have been doing around real estate development and investment in businesses. A lot of these banks that have been kind of maybe hesitant to invest, previously before the pandemic, I think now they have a kind of different type of appetite about moving capital into these communities, right? Especially the ones that have been hit the hardest by the pandemic. And I think now they're kind of looking at themselves like, what? Hey, maybe if we would have made some of these investments earlier, the hit would have been so hard, right? So, we've been having some big conversations with JP Morgan Chase and some of the other folks. Also, I think philanthropy could potentially play a part, because I think when you look at the bid and the businesses, those are economic drivers, right? Those are the merchants hire folks. Many of them are local folks, right? So it's kind of this cascading effect, right? To build a strong base of businesses as much as we can. And, you know, that doesn't mean all the money has to come directly from the property owners. There could be other ways to potentially create other types of investment. So it just opens up a new, I think, line of communication to some of these bigger investors. I don't know if does that answer your question, Bill? But
yes. I think it's the last or the current expiring 10 years. We did not have any opportunities to get this kind of partnerships, but is your view that we might be able to get it for this forthcoming one? Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, no, I feel very, very hopeful about that. I think there's, you know, I don't want to get too deep in the woods, but there are these other kind of real estate models that we're looking at around the country. Different cities are trying that I think potentially could work here in the Fruitvale, especially along the commercial corridors. I don't maybe think this is probably the right meeting for it, but I think it's something that we could continue to share. And again, you know, I think the conversations that we've been having with, you know, the JP Morgan Chases of the world and other folks, you know, I think they're the appetite for investment and creative ideas when you have like these public-private type of partnerships. I think a lot of folks are going to be open to that. So I think it does present a unique opportunity.
Okay.
I would like to add too, thank you for that, Chris, that is part of what the Unity Council is looking for with this public engagement process, is that they want a collaborative process. So they want to hear from as many merchants and property owners as possible with ideas on how to accomplish some of the shared goals that the community has. So, you know, thank you for asking that question, Bill, and, you know, encourage the other community members to ask those same type of questions and then bring forward solutions as well. So that will be part of the continued process to gather information from the community.
And I also wanted to add on to Chris's comment that what helps us gain or gather investment is the fact that we do have a Fruitvale Business Improvement District. Like, it is one of the things that they look at to determine, you know, whether or not they believe that the investment is going to be a, you know, well-made investment. Having a bid in our neighborhood since 2001 has helped, you know, to obtain that $400 million that we had referenced to earlier. And Eduardo said that being a part of the bid can you repeat what you just said, Eduardo, in the chat?
Absolutely. Back in 2008, 2009, my first year as manager at Cooper Chapel, I was really impressed by the welcoming that I felt, especially with Maria and her staff. And right away, she invited me to be part of the bid. I didn't know what it was about, so it really opened up the opportunities for that location, which is not the most fanciest or luxurious location of our mortuaries throughout our Catholic mortuaries, but it did sort of made it the flagship as far as community involvement, and it obviously made a tremendous amount of impact as far as meeting budgets and getting the name out there of Cooper Chapel. But it did entail that invitation. So kind of reiterating a little bit what Nick mentioned, that sometimes the intangibles can't be measured unless you experience it firsthand. So the involvement of Cooper Chapel there in the heart of the Fruitvale District made that location the number one funeral home in our illustrious, you know, funeral homes throughout the Diocese of Oakland. So I want to thank Maria for that, Chris, for your support to her and to her team. And so whatever I can do to, meet this new horizon of renewing the bid, you can count on me. I'm still the managing, even though I'm not there physically. They promoted me to a different department, but they still have me as sort of the manager there. Whatever I can do to participate, you can count on me. So thank you so much for bringing that out.
Thank you, Eduardo.
Okay, if we don't have any other questions, we've reached our hour mark here, which we said we'd try and stick to just to keep everyone on, so we didn't have people dropping off. Are there any closing thoughts from Chris, Tiffany, Maria, Nick, Pablo? Anyone want to add anything?
I just share with everyone that the video will be available in a few days on our website. I will also make the slides available and the chat, so everything will be available. Just give me a few days to process it, and tomorrow is Friday, so most likely beginning of next week. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate your participation.
Yes, and please share that with the community. Like I said, share the website and take the survey if you haven't signed up for updates, so we can hear from all of you. We really appreciate you being on the call tonight. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out with any questions at all.